Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hungry People Podcast, home of the hungry people. It is your boy, Michael Patrick Buckley. I'm here with my co-host, AJ, the killer, the stunning, the car salesman, the beast, Zyka. What's cracking, baby boy? How we doing?
We hungry. We fucking hungry.
I love that. I love that, Cuzzy. I love that. We are hungry. Let's get this. Let's get this shit, baby.
Let me tell you something. If you're hungry, hit me up. We'll get lunch. Chattanooga, Southern Squeeze. I'll see you there tomorrow.
Dude, I would love to get some Southern Squeeze. I really would love to.
Well, when you come down, you will. And this goes great into today's episode because we're going to be talking about recovery as an athlete and how to eat so that you can enhance the recovery. Because what is working out? It's all about tearing the muscle, rebuilding. The lower your inflammation, the higher your nutrition and minerals, you're going to recover quicker, more oxygen, more sleep. So we're going to stay away from the sleep and stuff because we're going to focus solely on nutrition. How do you eat to recover at a superhuman level? And the way that relates to Southern Squeeze is because the food is amazing, it's healthy, it's organic, and it's delicious. So if you're eating top quality plants like that, you're just going to go next level. All right, MP, let's get into it.
Cool. AJ, I do want to ask you a question first about Southern Squeeze, if you don't mind, before we get into this.
Let's do it.
What's your favorite item from them that you've had, at least? I'm sure, I mean, you might not have had everything, but what's your favorite so far?
No, I definitely haven't had everything. Everything is good. I haven't had one thing that wasn't amazing. All of their desserts are 100% raw. And I think a lot of people can agree out there that raw desserts are like next level because you just are, it's full of, nuts and chocolate and dates and stuff. And they can make it just like, they can replicate anything basically.
Right.
Pretty cool. As far as like the options, you have such a wide range of plants. You have you can have raw vegan dishes like the raw pad thai, which is unbelievable. Their waffles are a 10 out of 10. I had them the other day. Fruit and almond butter and blueberry maple syrup.
Wow.
I have actually had their lattes as well, their teas. They give you, amazing filtered water. The people are amazing, super healthy, super high vibe. Just all around the best. I would say the waffles probably might take the cake, but also the grilled cheese. The cheese is made in-house. The grilled cheese and soup, fucking phenomenal.
Dude, I would love some of that grilled cheese. There's actually a place here in Pittsburgh that has amazing tomato soup. Now I don't know if a lot of tomato soups are vegan, but this one is, and it's top notch. I probably would have to make my own grilled cheese, but just thinking of what you said, it just sounds so delicious.
It's so good. I can, I'll put a picture up on my story of the grilled cheese and soup. It's next level. All their stuff's so fresh. I think a lot of it's organic, or most of it is. And the people are friendly. If anyone is in Chattanooga watching, hit me up. We'll definitely go have lunch one day. And MP, let's jump into it.
Yeah, for sure. So AJ, with this topic here, do you want to focus more on like running, cycling, powerlifting, maybe just like an athlete, like a football player, a baseball player, or basketball player? Is there anything like specific that you want to hone in on today or tonight? Actually, I should say tonight.
Is there any specific sport or training that we want to focus on? I would say no, just because I think that it's universal. Recovery is universal.
Yeah.
There's going to be slight differences, like in terms of, this person needs more protein or fat or something because of the type of exercise they're doing. But we can touch on all of that. And then down the road, we can always be more specific.
Right. Cool. And then also too, you mentioned that you don't want to talk about sleep today or tonight.
No. Yeah. Well, we can mention it, but it's not going to be the focus because the food, this is all going to be all about the food.
Okay, cool. Great. Cool. Awesome.
I mean, if you're an athlete and you're not sleeping enough, what are you doing?
Right. That's just simply put, you got to get enough sleep.
Yeah. We'll just cover it right here. If go to bed earlier and sleep in as long as you can.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Cool.
As much as possible.
Perfectly said. Okay. So AJ, now if you want to recover as best as possible, you're training, you're trying to put on muscle. You want to look good. You want to feel good. I love that. How are you going to eat? You personally, how are you going to eat to recover as best as possible?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because today's podcast is sponsored by Supercells. Guys, if you're not taking Supercells, what are you doing? The liquid oxygen is literally going to take you to the next level. You can take this before workout, during a workout, after workout. What is every athlete trying to do? Increase the efficiency of their mitochondria, right? They're trying to increase the amount of oxygen that their cells can uptake. This literally gets right into your bloodstream, passes your blood-brain barrier, gets into your cells so that you can burn more oxygen quicker, go longer, train harder, recover better. So if you guys are interested, there's a link down below. Support hungry people. We appreciate it. Order some liquid oxygen and check out their other stuff as well. It's all top quality. Selena, who owns the business, is amazing. This stuff will change your performance. If you're a power lifter, if you're an endurance athlete, if you're just trying to overall perform at a higher level, you want every advantage that you can get. And this is the next step, baby. Okay. I would focus on that specifically and my nutrition. And the cool thing is that you can add this into your nutrition.
Right.
You can just take it straight. You can add it to your juice, your water, whatever you do. Easy to take. And you're going to notice that you wake up fresh. So check it out, guys. Now, as far as what I would drink and eat specifically, again, it is going to depend on the exercise I'm doing. But what I mean by that is no matter what training you're doing, you need to eat enough of the type of food that you need. So if I'm doing endurance exercise, the carbs are definitely going to be way more of a priority.
Right.
I'm definitely going to be taking in, more juice, more fruit, more beans and rice or pizzas or waffles or any kind of more carb rich stuff, because I'm going to be burning that as my fuel.
Mm-hmm.
But the universal thing is we want to eat enough of what we need. Okay. If you're underweight, you need more fat, unless you're trying to be underweight, which is not healthy, but you might have to do it for like wrestling or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so step one, I would say, is eat enough. What I would do, let's say if I was training for running, I would want my inflammation as low as possible. One of the problems is I ran a 5K for Halloween and I was eating vegan pizza and all this stuff. And when I ran, I couldn't breathe. My inflammation in my legs were so heavy, right? Mm-hmm. Because I stepped away from, as clean eating. So if my recovery was lower and I was eating enough, but I literally could breathe so well. And there's, the blood flow is so amazing because I'm doing green juices and apples and all the salads and stuff. So if I was running, as long as I was getting enough food, I'd probably eat 90% raw, because my legs would fly. And what happened was, since I was eating all this crap, when I did the race, I hurt my IT band for like 2 or 3 months because the inflammation was just so high,
Mm-hmm.
and I was gassed like instantly.
So now when you talk about this inflammation here, you can physically just feel this, like when you're running. And I know you mentioned it's sort of a heaviness, but is there anything else that you can explain to us of how you feel? Just so maybe someone else can get a better picture.
Yeah. So if you've eaten a high carb diet for a long period of time, you'll notice that if you go and eat some chips or some French fries, your legs will feel like lead, because the blood flow has just been stopped so drastically. Not stopped, but it's been gunked up a little bit. All those insulin receptor sites aren't working as properly. So what I mean by inflammation is I will get redness in my hands and my feet. I will have a higher heart rate. Blood pressure goes up a little bit. I just feel like more irritated, as I'm getting, even in my 20s, I felt this, but as I'm getting into my 30s now, you just feel like your joints are a little stiffer. Or when you do get a little tweak in your ankle or your knee, it seems to take longer until it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm doing really clean foods, it just never happens. But if I'm
Right.
eating, junk, it stays there and lingers. So I have to really focus on my form extra, my sleep extra. And it can sometimes get you into a little bit of trouble.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. I can even say for myself, when I was doing a ton of biking and only a little bit of running about a year and a half ago, whenever I ran my fastest 5K, and like I said, I was not even running that much, but I was doing super high carb, pretty clean for the most part, a lot of fruit, a lot of smoothies. I was doing some refined sugar, healthy refined sugar, if you want to call that healthy, and then doing rice, potatoes, veggies, stuff like that, juices. And dude, I was flying, and you could just you can really feel that in your body, just having that conditioning and having that momentum, which is what just felt awesome. And I think a lot of it too is that you got to make sure that your body's ready for that. You can't just expect to go out there and just run or bike and just get these good results. Like taking the time to actually put the work in really helps to get those results. I mean, obviously it only makes sense, so if you're just trying to do stuff and expecting these results and you're not getting them, well, hey, you gotta put more time in, you gotta put more work in. So AJ, from like a running perspective, since we're on running here and training, where do you think protein plays a role in recovery?
Cool. I think it's people really aren't that sure, at least the experts that I've talked with. I would say that lower protein is better, except if you're underweight, if you're malnourished. Mm-hmm. If you're malnourished, you're just not going to perform at the level you could if you were nourished. So then the line becomes gray, because junk food becomes a lot healthier than anything else, because you just get to have more nutrition overall, calories overall. I would say that for running, lower protein would be better, just because you're not trying to build muscle. You're not really trying to build things up as much. Right. And it's easier on your kidneys. The better your kidneys are working, the better lactic acid is going to be removed and all these metabolites and stuff. So definitely in endurance exercise, you don't need muscle. You don't fucking need it, because it slows you down, right? I think every 1 pound or 3 pound. Yeah, I think it's every 1 pound slows you down 3 seconds per mile, something like that.
Wow.
So high carb, but still being nourished would probably be hands down the best. I mean, if you listen to people like Michael Arnstein, we ran with him at Woodstock Fruit Festival. He's like, awesome. You want your blood sugar as high as possible while you're training with running, because you're just burning that fuel, over and over. And the leaner and lighter you are, the faster you're going to go.
Right. It was so cool hearing him say that. The blood sugar, well, not like cool, but it was like, oh, interesting here. And say like, oh, I want my blood sugar as high as possible, just so you have enough in there to like constantly have that fuel. That was really cool.
Well, now, I don't think we'll ever forget it. It's definitely a highlight of the whole festival.
No, never. Now, I wanted to bring this up because I'm on Twitter, and dude, Twitter, it's once again, it's a different beast on there. Like there's just so much stuff you'll see that's like so different from Instagram, and I'll see a lot of stuff on there about like carnivore and like keto stuff, just because there's like, I feel like there's more battling, and it's easier to like debate on Twitter versus like on Instagram, like in the comments and stuff. And there was a female that I came across who was doing, I think, the carnivore diet, or if anything, low carb in general, and doing keto. And I know there's a guy out there, I think his name's like Zach Benter or something. He's a big keto advocate runner. Now this person saying that like she's eating all these animal products, like eating meat, eating eggs, whatever she was eating. I don't really know specifically. I think meat and eggs for sure though. Definitely meat. And she's like, oh, I'm recovering amazing. I can breathe so clearly. I can breathe deeply. Everything's just like working. It just works awesome. High fat, low carb, carnivore, keto, whatever she does. And I just wanted to like get your thoughts on something like that. Like, do you think a majority of people would benefit better from doing like a higher carb or from a lower carb diet when in regards to running and training in recovery?
Right. As time goes on, what it seems to me is that people usually come back to somewhere in the middle. The extremes work for so long, it seems. And for some people, they do work, I guess, for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. But generally, you have these people who go super low carb and they burn out. People who go super high carb, they get digestive issues or bloated or emaciated or whatever. They come back in the middle. I think like most, like 60% carbs, 20% the other stuff is probably where most people would perform overall the best, like as an average. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely going to be people who see really, really good benefits by going on mostly bananas or mostly meat, just because of their specific challenges at that time. I mean, let's just say I had this guy come into a nutrition shop that I worked at, and he just went on straight meat. Now, this guy was emaciated, looked really sick before, whatever. He showed me the pictures. He started just eating meat and he came back. Why? Because he had poor metabolism, being able to digest stuff. So he found something that he could eat that wouldn't block up his whole system and also nourish him. And then vice versa. How many people have we talked to felt terrible on meat? They started eating plants, they came back to life. So where most people will fall, I would say, is the people who aren't on the extremes.
Yeah.
Unless the extremes are the only thing that's going to work for them.
Right.
I know for a period of time, like high carb felt by far the best until it didn't. And I just don't know how sustainable it is unless you can eat as much calories as you need in order to convert some of those carbohydrates into fatty acids and protein. But that's going to take an iron gut or a really good metabolism and digestion elimination so that you can handle all that volume and still get what you need. Because if you eat 2,000 calories of whole plant foods with no fat, no protein, it's not, I feel as though you're going to hit nutritional, pitfalls and stuff.
Deficiencies.
But if you're eating so much, your body has more to work with. The only thing is, can you digest it all?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you handle it? So it's not just like sitting in your gut and then you're trying to like run or train or work out or whatever. And you're having all these weird issues in your gut.
Yeah.
So,
well, you'll see these people who are just eating like one sweet potato, a huge salad and whatever. And it's like, yeah, their gut's full of stuff, but did they get enough actual, whether it's calories or whatever, carbs, whatever, fat? It's challenging.
Now, how much would you say that, like, I'm assuming that I know what your answer is, but how much would you say like digestion and metabolism play in the role of recovery? Because I mean, I can only imagine that if you're not able to like really fully utilize your food as quickly and as efficiently as possible, and then get rid of it, your body isn't going to recover either. So like, do you have any thoughts on that of how like people can even get their metabolism and digestion as best as possible so that they can recover? Because I can only imagine that it does play a huge role in recovery that doesn't really get talked about and kind of slides under the radar.
Yeah, great point. I would have probably overlooked it. I would say other than sleep, hydration, third would be your ability to eliminate the food that you fucking have in you. I mean, how long can you go being constipated?
Right.
It's going to affect every area of your life. I mean, I was talking with someone at my new job, and they were saying how like their lymphatic system feels thrashed. I'm like, how do you know about a lymphatic system? People don't know about this. He's like, if I get constipated, my lymph nodes will swell up.
Right.
We have to be able to eliminate our metabolic waste.
Right.
Now we have a couple ways to do that, not just digestion, but digestion's probably number one, in my opinion. Who doesn't feel so much better having great digestion? That's going to improve the quality of your blood flow, improve the quality of when you do eat food, you're going to absorb it better. And I mean, it's huge. That was my first thing that started to have me on the decline of athletics, is just because my digestion was wrecked,
Right. Interesting. Yeah, it's just like the longer I'm in this kind of stuff and learning about it, like I'm realizing like, wow, like digestion or metabolism, digestion, elimination are like just super key and so important. Now when we talk about recovery in general, I'm trying to figure out how I want to phrase this, because I just think like you want to be fully healed. I mean, maybe not by the next day, but like at least the next time that you're going to do that body part. So I think what we see a lot, especially like in the gym, is that they'll only do like a body part a week. So, I mean, they'll do chest on Monday, Tuesday, they'll do arms, Wednesday, they'll do legs, Thursday, they'll do back. And then maybe Friday, they'll do like a full body. So maybe twice, but I know for like more bodybuilders, they usually do like once a week, like really pound these workouts out, and they just like crush their chest or they crush their legs and they can't walk the next day. They're hurting. Now, from like a recovery standpoint here, are we really I'm not sure if like how much like you technically know about this stuff, but are we talking about like lowering as much inflammation as possible? Because obviously, like our muscles are inflamed, when you pump them up and when you move your body and stuff in a certain way. And Obviously, I know you mentioned lactic acid too. Like, you definitely want to get rid of the lactic acid, but are there any other parts of recovery that you are at least aware of? That what's the last part of this question here? That you can like at least bring to the table and that we can talk about.
What do you mean by other parts?
Yeah. So so when you want to recover, it's like, what exactly are we recovering?
Okay.
Yeah, right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So if I just go real macro real quick, for you to have proper recovery, what needs to happen is you need to make sure you're getting enough oxygen to all the areas of your body, especially those that are being challenged. Mm-hmm. You need to have proper hydration. What does that look like? It just depends. It depends because you might need a lot more water. You might need a lot more Gatorade or a lot more green juice or a lot more fruit. It just depends on the body's needs at that time. But you have oxygen, you have hydration. You need to nourish yourself because you're not going to recover, even if you're eating the healthiest food, if your liver doesn't get its glycation back. I mean, its glycogen back in your brain and stuff, right? So if your body's depleted of all of its glycogen stores, you do need some carbs. Right. If your body is at such a low percentage of fat, you need to eat some fat, or you need to eat enough food to start to build that up, because your body can't function if it doesn't have enough reserves properly. Mm-hmm. The ability for your elimination systems to work is very important. So your kidneys, to remove a lot of those metabolic waste, your bowels have to work really well, so you're not holding on to fecal matter, and you're eliminating and getting ready for the food that's coming in. Is your thyroid functioning properly so that you can sweat a lot of this out? I mean, if people were able to hit saunas and cold showers afterwards, you're literally opening up and releasing all this stuff and squeezing the sponge so that you feel fresh and new. And I mean, guys, sleep is king. If you can be in bed by 8 or 9, you have the competitive advantage. Mm-hmm. Turn in your Wi-Fi off at night. I'm a big believer in that. I started dreaming again. If you're dreaming and you're sleeping better recovery. Right. But as far as like bringing that inflammation down, the reason you want the inflammation down is so that your body isn't working extra hard to bring it down. It doesn't have to pump excess hormones. It doesn't have to go into more of a fight or flight response, so that everything's working in overdrive to try to repair the damage as quickly as possible. Right. So if we put these tools into place, if you take all these steps, your body doesn't have to work as hard because you're assisting it in the healing. And that way, when you hit your workout the next day, you fully recovered, or you've recovered way more than you would have otherwise. And now you're going to be able to hit a proper, deeper workout. Right. Cool. Does that answer it? Or? Yeah, no, that's like unbelievably perfect, because I know you mentioned oxygen, and if I'm not mistaken, I know carbohydrate. I think there's oxygen in the chemical structure of a carbohydrate, and I do believe that. Obviously, when you eat a lot of fat, well, for the keto people might disagree, but it's blocking blood flow because of all the fat. And I think protein, I'm not really sure as much, but I know with the carbohydrate, if anything, it should help bring more oxygen into your cells in general. Now, I can even think of doing breath work too. That obviously is going to help bring more oxygen as well, along with eating carbohydrates. But I don't necessarily think that just only eating carbohydrates is the best way to recover. I mean, just in general, I guess, just generally speaking, but it's one of the main parts, if not the main part of it, so I definitely find that really interesting. And I often forget the oxygen part, and I really gotta buy some the supercells, AJ. Well, think of it like this. When you're really fit on the bike or running, right? Let's say you're really fit and you go hang out with some guys that aren't that fit, and you're running or you're biking and you're like, I'm just having a good time, and they're all struggling. Mm-hmm. It's because of oxygen. Right. It's not because they're not eating enough. I mean, unless they're fruitarian or something. The chances are they're eating enough food, they're getting enough sleep and whatever, or almost, but they just don't have the cardio. They don't have the oxygen. Now listen to this, Wim Hof, because I've trained with Wim Hof in New York. he told me that if you do the breath work, 3 sets the way we did it, and you do it every day, after 1 month, you can go run a half marathon or marathon and you won't get injured because your body will be so oxygenated. Not only that, you will have stressed your system, the mitochondria, every cell so much that when you go and run, it knows it's efficient. It knows how to eliminate these metabolic waste, the lactic acid. It knows how to like have everything flow and function, and you're not going to get injured.
Right.
So more oxygen, not only does it help you with your cardio, it prevents injury. Because think about the areas that are getting injured. Why are they getting injured? Because they're not healing at a fast enough rate.
Mm-hmm.
So if your knees aren't used to it, if everything is like not supported with oxygen, with blood flow, with muscle, with ligaments, you're going to have a tougher time. Right. But if you even just increase one of those, and that could be like you train really smart, really well for really long, and now your body's just prepared for that exercise, or you're really healthy, you recover really fast, and maybe you didn't train that much, but you start to train and you can go harder than most people, because most people, they're going to get injured if they go that hard.
Mm-hmm. Now,
if you take the Supercells liquid oxygen, it's like doing the Wim Hof without doing the Wim Hof. Like you get the benefits of it without actually having to. But I do have a video of Wim Hof coming out soon. For those of you guys who don't really understand it, this video is going to clear it up. It's going to show you how to do it, how to get the benefits.
Nice.
And I want people to have options. If you know yourself, if you know you're not going to do the Wim Hof, do yourself a favor. Just take some liquid oxygen, get all those benefits, and then train your ass off.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Now, aside from maybe doing some of the liquid oxygen if someone doesn't have it, is there anything else that you would suggest? Like maybe even if it is like drinking more juice or even just simply eating carbohydrate, is there anything else you would have to say about that?
Yeah. So I would say lower shitty fats, in my opinion. What I mean by that is like oils. I mean, McDougall says 1 drop of oil can limit blood flow to the penis for 6 hours. So like if you have blood flow issues and oxygen issues, I wouldn't be eating fried oils. He did say that. That would be the biggest thing. I mean,
out of every example you use, you had to talk about blood flow to the penis, AJ.
That's just because mine's so great. No. I mean, let's just think about it. What we want: clean blood. Oil is just really dense. It's full of fat, calories, bacon, shit like that.
Right.
That's going to slow your blood flow. Right. French fries, just junk. Chips, things like that. Just
so like trans fats.
Trans fatty acids. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right.
Anything that has oxygen. What has oxygen? Whole natural plant foods does. You eat an apple, or you drink some cucumber juice or something that has hydrogen, oxygen, minerals in it. We want better communication between the cells. So if the cells can communicate properly, that they can transfer energy and move by each other easily, that's going to benefit us. So I mean, green juice, hands down, meets every need in recovery. You drink a cucumber juice, it drops inflammation. It gives you oxygen. It gives you minerals. It gives you hydration, electrolytes, all these kinds of things. So your body can come back. What it doesn't give you is the calories, but now that you've primed your system, you can start to, have the other stuff.
Right. It's funny that you said the cucumber juice, because I just watched your video that you posted on Wednesday about the lemon ginger blast, and you were just talking about like cucumber juice and saying, oh, if you have this, drink cucumber juice, and you have this, drink cucumber juice, and you have this, drink cucumber juice. And
it's universal.
I like celery juice better than cucumber juice. So
boo. You'll change. You've had more celery juice, so of course you say that. But if you had the same amount and you've given it a chance, I can't even drink celery juice anymore. I used to love it. I hate it now.
I hope I never get to that point, because I love celery juice.
Like that is competing with lemon ginger blast somehow. I don't even know how it does it. It's so good.
You're ridiculous.
It's Leo's favorite too. Our friend
Leo does like cucumber juice.
It's the best fruit juice. Sorry, pineapple juice.
So now I know I mentioned like bodybuilding earlier, and how like people will do like one muscle a day kind of thing. Yeah. And I know earlier I mentioned like powerlifting and stuff. Now, where do you see protein? Like, where do you come down on protein having a role in recovery? With let's talk more specifically on people who like work out at the gym, bodybuilding, powerlifting, that kind of stuff. Maybe even CrossFit too, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I would love your thoughts on this too.
Yeah.
I'll just touch on it for a second. I think that if you're bodybuilding, it's just a whole different animal. You're just going to have to eat so much of all of the categories, the 3 macros of fat, protein, and carbs. There's no bodybuilder that's not eating fucking carbohydrates, because
Right.
the glycogen is going to boost up your muscles, like bulk them up. So
like refill it.
and the combination of fat and sugar is what's going to get you bigger, in those bulking stages. Now, protein is obviously going to be a part of that as well, but it's not a calorie source usually for these people, because they're never going to get all their calories from protein. It just doesn't work like that. Maybe their calories are going to be like 20% protein, and then the rest is going to come from the other two. I don't really think it's that important for recovery, more for the performance that they want in terms of bulking up.
Right.
These people would probably be a lot healthier if they lowered their protein and lowered the fats that they were taking in, but they wouldn't have the muscles that they want. So cool. I don't know if that answers that.
No, yeah. So I mean, I'm definitely in agreement, and I feel like we both agree on that. Like the carbohydrate is probably like in the minerals and the oxygen and stuff are like the biggest parts of nutrition that are going to really help and fuel that recovery. Now, when I think of protein, I think of like animalism. I think of growth. I think of strength. I think of power. I don't really think of like recovery, when I think of protein. So,
unless you're malnourished, then I do think of it in that way.
Yeah, then it can be beneficial. Now I do think like some people, they may get better results, even with recovery, if they are doing more protein. But I also question, and I'm not really sure like the truth behind this, but they say that like you can only absorb like X amount of protein in a certain meal. And once again, I'm not sure, but I think there was a study that I saw, and I may have it, or it was talked about on Twitter or something, where people were saying like, where they like posed this question of like, oh, you can only absorb so much protein. But they said that like the people who were eating more protein at a certain meal were actually getting more protein in their body and absorbing and utilizing it. So I do think that like the claim of like, oh, you can only absorb fucking 30 grams of protein in a meal. I do think that's like sort of kind of hearsay. But yeah, I just think it really comes down to the individual. Cause I remember I was doing like intermittent fasting and eating like basically a fruit diet. And I was like recovering like insanely 2.5 years ago. And I do believe like to some extent that rest from not eating with intermittent fasting plays like sort of a little bit of a role. But I honestly, I was like, I just felt so stressed out, and I was like, so like, oh my gosh, I got to eat right now, and right now I'd rather have the fuel to work out than like not give myself fuel,
Yeah. Okay. That's something we also missed, which was stress. I mean, if you're stressed all the time, you're not going to perform.
Right.
Like that's it. You need to find a way that you're eating adequately that works for you. But at the same time, if you're stressed, that's going to really, hurt your performance, your resting, all that kind of stuff. I would say that it's a really important topic, what you just brought up. You see it all the time. You see these people who eat horrible diets, and then all of a sudden they start eating vegan or whatever, they just start eating a cleaner diet, more restrictive diet, and they feel amazing. Right. Yeah. And they feel like, fuck, I found it. This is the answer. This is going to set me apart. And you'll find those people that maybe can sustain that. But also what you find is they always plateau. You were just saying that you were intermittent fasting and eating fruit and you're recovering like crazy. Well, of course, like your inflammation was lower. I'm sure you were more hydrated and all these things, but it's going to plateau because you couldn't sustain that.
Yeah, you're right.
So as soon as we get to a certain point where we can't handle it anymore, whether the stress gets too high, whether the body fat gets too low, whether the testosterone drops or the estrogen gets out of balance, it can work until it doesn't. Yeah. Now, for me, since I've been in Tennessee and just been, I'm working a new job and there's a lot going on, it's been really hard to eat, cleaner, like I do prefer most of the time. So on Sunday, when I do eat like a lot of more juices and salad and stuff, it feels really, really needed and right. And it's not forced. It's actually what I want. And I want to sleep a lot. because that's where my body's at, right? But if I just did that every single day, I don't think I could handle the workload.
Yeah.
Because it's too much, and I'd have to be way more organized and all this stuff.
Right.
So I do
like,
think
like you're stressing yourself out too much by thinking that like you have to do that, like you gotta like do green juice or salads and like be so perfect. Is that kind of what I'm getting at?
Not even that I'm stressing myself that I have to do it, just that it takes so much energy to do all that.
Yeah.
And I don't handle stress as well. So I would have to spend more time alone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as confident at work and stuff. Now just imagine this. Imagine, MP, that you had to eat fast food for 30 days, right? Just only fast food for 30 days. And this is going to connect all the points together. How excited does it sound that on that 31st day, you're just going to drink cucumber juice and eat some fruit and salad? How excited would you be to actually do that because of all the gunk and inflammation?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's needed, right?
Yeah.
So imagine all these people who
eat
standard American, they find raw veganism or something, and wow, the first day, the first week, the first month, they feel so amazing. But what about after 9 months?
Right.
Or even whole food, plant-based, or a meat diet or whatever. You first step away from all of that garbage, start to eat a certain way, and wow, it's the answer. It's the answer because you're finally getting somewhat of a break, and it's a drastic break that you actually finish. But MP, what if I said after the 30 days of fast food, you have to do 2 years on that clean diet that I just, fruits and juices and salad? Like after a couple of days, you would be bugging out.
Yeah, right. It caused more stress to your body just because like, oh, I don't want to be that restrictive. I want to like go have a meal with my friends. I want to be able to do that.
Or even just your performance overall.
Yeah. Right? But I think that's such an awesome point you brought up. Cause like, wow. It really does make those foods so much better. And it makes it like, wow, like I can really go for a celery juice right now. Like give me that, rather than being like, I do it every day. This is just typical celery juice. And actually, this is a great example too, because I told my dad, it was beautiful. It was like 75 a couple of days ago or a week ago. And I'm like, man, Dad, I really wish it was like this every single day. He's like, you know what, MP? But you wouldn't appreciate it as much, And I'm like, you know what, Dad, you're right. I wouldn't. So it's not, and it's funny because a couple of days later, it was probably like lower 70s. It was like a bit windy. It was cloudy. And I was like, wow, this kind of like calmer, little windier day, like not as like heat coming at you. Actually felt pretty good. And I'm like, wow, that's nice. But then like, oh, I can't wait for that sunny day to come though. It's going to be great again. So I feel like that's sort of how this is too. And like, yes, like it's great. If you could do that, if you could do that kind of stuff every day, juice and eat fruit or whatever you want to eat, salads and drink the best juices and take enzymes and stuff, like awesome, but it's even better when you don't do it for a little period of time and then you come back to it and you're like, boom, baby.
Oh yeah.
Feel that power, dude. So like
I feel the weather is a great example because I feel that the job that I'm working now, we have to get into some of the cars on the lot and they're like 120 degrees inside.
Oh,
and like it's really, really hot out, right? And today was a shitty rainy day. And normally I'd be like, oh, it sucks out. But I was so glad because I'm getting into these cars and they're not so hot. So
right.
It's really the contrast of what's going on.
Right. Yeah, it's awesome. Dude, there was a question. You were talking about something, and there was something that was a really good question too that I wanted to ask. But we just like it was too earlier in the conversation, and we all got so excited.
Guys and gals, your bodies are smart, and you'll know if you're really hungry, you're really thirsty. It's not just parasites. It's not just. I mean, I'm serious. It's not even just,
you're right.
These external things that we think are causing our biological functions, right?
Right.
We need to get somewhat in touch, but still be reasonable with our intelligence of being able to take care of our systems. Because how many of us just create rules because we think we're supposed to? If it's 10 o'clock at night and you're so thirsty, but you're like, sorry, I only drive fast after 8.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're not doing yourselves a favor because you're going to wake up in the middle of the night, dehydrated and needing water. It would be better if you hydrate it before bed. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people that have desired outcomes with eating are challenged with, because all of our relatives, they're hungry, they eat, they're thirsty, they drink, they're tired, they sleep.
Right. Yeah, that's how it is. And that's
And
why
of course they do it sometimes in a negative way too, but at the same time, they actually are listening to their systems for better or worse. Whereas we only are like, I'm only allowed to do this, even though I want to do all of this other stuff.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough putting rules on your life. And that's just more restrictive behavior. And like long-term, it doesn't really create promising health results,
Especially as
like,
an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And then like in 2 weeks, let's say you ate late. You're not thinking like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe 2 weeks ago I ate like at 10 o'clock. Like, oh my gosh, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's forgotten. It happened. You're already here,
Now I definitely think it's great to do if you can eat, the food you need early, you're going to sleep better. But if you're starving and it's late, that's not good either. Right.
Right.
We have to make reasonable decisions.
100%, dude. 100%. Cool. AJ, do you have anything else you want to say on this topic here that we're discussing today?
Yeah, as far as recovery is really simple. It's just the things people don't want to do. 100%.
Nice.
You and I, if we were trying to feel our absolute best, we'd be in bed by 8 o'clock. We would take this before sleep. Our brains would wake up fully oxygenated.
Yeah.
We would, not waste our time hanging out with people who are doing drugs and getting drunk every fucking 2 minutes. We would eat well, but we would make sure to eat enough. We wouldn't go crazy on either way. If we were hungry for, carbs or fat or protein, we'd eat what's necessary. We would train with people who are really fucking fit, because that's just going to get us up quickly. We're going to train smart. We're going to train in a way that allows us to train the next day or the right amount of times in a week. It's really important to make sure that you get blood work if you're open to that. I think that that's huge, because then you can avoid deficiencies. Deficiencies will lead to nerve issues, tissue issues and stuff like that. Saunas and steam rooms, amazing. Swimming, get your posture good, get your joints and everything lubricated, build some muscle. Having core strength, having muscle is going to allow you to not get injured, because you're going to support your joints and ligaments. Mm-hmm. Take care of your, your teeth. Your oral system is going to be huge when it comes to, taking in the nutrition. I mean, you could go on all day. I just think the biggest thing with recovery is hydration, sleep, and eating enough food and proper training. And that's going to get you, the best results in the world. But people don't want to do it.
Right. Well said, AJ. I have a couple points here before we close up. The first one, or points, whatever stuff I have to say, statements, was that I remember what I was talking about, or what I wanted to ask, or at least bring up, was that when I was doing like the fruit only and intermittent fasting and stuff, I felt like, wow, like I had this superpower. Now I'm just going to train like even harder and do more. But then I overtrained and then I got hurt, So it's like, you can only take it so far, and I wasn't doing like any protein at all. Or like very minimal, at least, I guess from like greens or the carbs that I was eating, if they hadn't had that much protein. So I definitely think that your training and how you train also plays a huge role in recovery. And another point that I want to make was about like doing legs. I know like walking helps legs recover. I know this is more about food, nutrition and stuff, but just walking, even on the treadmill, 5 minutes on the treadmill after you do legs, if you do that, definitely helps. Once again, this is not really talking about food and recovery, but AJ and I were listening to an episode from someone who actually just got banned from YouTube. And these two gentlemen, I don't want to say their names, I don't feel like it. They were talking about eating and like working out and stuff. And these guys, they were ex-plant eaters. They eat a lot of meat. They eat a lot of protein. And they both even said that recently they both got hurt, or maybe not recently, but like over the past couple months or whatever, they both got hurt and they both injured themselves because they weren't getting the rest they need. The one like just had a kid or has kids, and staying up late, not getting enough sleep, and kind of a similar situation with the other guy, but I don't think he has kids or not. But like when you train and you work out, you live your life differently than how someone does partying. You can't expect to go out and party till fucking 3 a.m. drink beer, and then get up at 9 a.m. the next day and fucking run a marathon. I mean, it's just not possible. I mean, it's possible, but it's not ideal. And you want to really get your shit together and get your shit straight if you actually want to build muscle, if you actually want to recover, if you actually want to be a lean, healthy individual, and you actually want to take care of yourself. Like, you're going to do what it takes to do that. And I get it. You know, you want to live your life. You want to enjoy your life. Yeah, for sure. I do it. It happens. You know, we stay up late sometimes, but for the majority of the time, you definitely want to hit those main goals and those main parts that are going to help you recover faster as much as possible. Do it as much as possible. So yeah. Anyways, what else did I have to say about this stuff? Fucking eat enough food. Rest is probably the most important part outside of nutrition. Get enough rest your body. I would say that overtraining is probably worse than undertraining. So don't think that like you have to fucking be this superhuman like David Goggins and go train all the time when that's all he does for a living. He gets up and fucking runs 10 miles and that's his life. That hella guy who ran 5 miles or every day for 5 years, that's his life. Like, that's what he does. He fucking runs for a living. So like some of these people, that's their life, and they do it. They do what they got to do to recover, ice baths, all this kind of stuff, whatever, so that the next day they can be in as best shape as possible to do their life. You know, so a lot of us, we're so busy, you know, we're trying to do 17,000 things at a time. It can be hard. It can be tough to really balance it all out. So just like, don't think that you have to like overtrain and do fucking all this extra work when it may actually not be a benefit. And I think it can create like mental issues and disorders and stuff too as well. So
yeah, MP, you posted that video. You'll say his name, but it's like, don't wake up extra early to train if you actually could have slept.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll say his name, Gil. Gil's a beast, dude.
Gil, we'll get you on the podcast,
dude. Yeah, it's like, it's not worth it. Like, the sleep is the time where you're covering and resting the most, and when your body is cleaning and filtering and getting rid of the waste. Like, you don't want to mess that up to fucking get up at 5 a.m. when you went to bed at 12 and you're not energized, and now you're fucking drinking energy drinks to go work out. And it's like, what are you doing? You know, you're better off like waiting until the evening and doing your workout, you know, and getting enough sleep. So that was a long-winded, but that actually felt really good to say.
Well said.
So, but yeah, that's all I have today on talking about recovery and nutrition and other stuff as well. So, AJ, anything else?
I'm good.
Nice, dude. What do you got going this week, man?
What do I got going on this week? I mean, I'm working a lot. I got a date.
Ew, AJ, good for you, dude.
Yeah,
good for you.
I want to get on the bike, but it's gonna be raining all week, so we'll see.
Nice, dude.
And just trying to sell some cars. So if you live in Chattanooga, hit me up. I'll get you a deal.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. Good stuff, bro. Cool. Well, hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed the show today. AJ is the expert of us too, so he did an awesome job. Now, please,
I have the words, MP has the actual fitness.
Love it. I just feel like I'm just the question guy. I just love asking questions. Like, that's just like legit what I do. Like, that's like what I should do for a living, just ask questions. So I just ask you. I asked before you asked. So sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm just so sleepy that I'm like, I forgot to ask him every time.
No, it's all good. I love it. But yeah, no, hey guys, please leave us a comment below. Like what you've noticed with your food, more specifically, because this is more about food and recovery. But anything else that definitely helps you recover faster and gets you the results that you get. So, anyways, it's your boy, Michael Patrick Buckley. I'm checking out for the evening. Stay up, be great. Always keep it HUNNIT, baby.
Drink oxygen, buy cars, and stay hungry.